Welcome to the Mom and podcast. We're your hosts, Suzanne Kearns
and Missy Stevens. We want to help you through everything that happens in the ellipses, from your professional life to your emotional health.
You're a mom and so much more. Let's figure out what comes next together. Welcome to the Mom and podcast. I'm Suzanne Kearns, a mom and writer, LGBTQ and sex ed advocate, and today a panicking Christmas prepper.
Yeah, I'm Missy Stevens, mom and writer, foster care advocate, and today family Christmas planner, prepper, crazy lady.
Of course. I mean, that's all we're going to be. That's probably all that y'all listeners are right now, too.
Yeah.
So we're extra grateful that you're taking a moment to hang out with us.
Yeah.
But today we are so happy to have, drum roll, please, us on the show. In honor of respecting our boundaries and the boundaries of our guests, we decided not to schedule anybody to join us during these busy holiday weeks, but kind of wanted to two-bird, one stone it because we knew that if we didn't do this, we probably would let the end of the year fly by without taking the time to sit and reflect and be intentional and set some intentions for the year ahead. So we decided to get together and record. So it's a boundary, but in a way it's still respecting our boundaries and that we are locked in our closets and hiding from our families. Instead of running around like crazy and doing all the prepping, we're thinking about us. And we hope that you will take a couple minutes to do the same. And we are making this a short one, right, Missy? So
we're going to try really hard to make it short. I mean, my phone is off and it's on the floor, but I keep seeing like questions.
Bing, bing.
Mom, what about this? Missy, what about this? What do I bring here? So yeah, we're going to make it short so we can get back to our people and Christmasing and holidaying and breaking, all of that stuff.
So this episode and also next week's episode are going to be just little quickies with the two of us where it's just short enough for you to take a little me time, go hide in your closet, go hide in the bathroom, go do whatever you need to do. It's just going to have a couple little reminders for things that you could be doing. I don't even want to call it New Year's resolutions, Missy. I don't like that because we're not talking about changing or making you better because you don't have to get better. You're perfect.
There's nothing wrong with you.
You're perfect.
Yeah, my son said the other day he was going to set a resolution and it was a nutrition. He's an athlete, so it was a nutrition focused resolution. And I just said, let's not call it a resolution. Let's just collectively say this is something that we want to make a goal, that we want to focus on and we want to incorporate into our day-to-day lives. And of course, he's 15. So he's like, oh, it's my resolution. He didn't really want to hear it, but I'm like, I just am going to get in his head. Like, let's just start thinking about this differently because I feel like resolutions by their nature are meant to be broken.
Yeah. And even if the definition of resolution, if you break it down, is still the same thing as a goal, I don't know that it is. I haven't gone that far to actually define it, but it has a negative connotation. Yeah, it has a negative connotation. It's something that you set and then you break within the first month. And then also they're usually around the thought of you not being enough already is what I always think of resolutions. It's like, I need to lose weight. I need to do this. I need to do this. And it's a bunch of shoulds and should. And you know what we say about shoulding on yourself. So we're kind of, even though we are still going to be talking about some goals and stuff, not in the resolution standpoint. Let's maybe get rid of the resolutions. But I think I'm going to kick off with probably the number one thing, even if you want to keep the resolutions, you need to know your values. Because if you're going to set this resolution for, I want to read 50 books in the next year. Okay, great. We think that's amazing. But by knowing your value, first of all, why? Like, is that, do you really like to read? Maybe you can do audio books. That's still reading in my brain. I do all the audio books.
It is. Scientifically, it's considered reading still.
Yeah. And, I shouldn't use books as an example or for things that you should question because I think everybody should read books. But
why do you feel compelled to read that many? Think about it. Like, what is your reason for that? Does it fit with your overall values?
Yes. And if so, then what books should you be, or not, I'm saying should, no. What books would you like to make sure that you're focusing
Right.
on that really reflect not even necessarily your values, but your interests and what you like
Mhm.
and what you enjoy? So, really, let's take some time to think about that. So, we have done quite a few values exercises over the past year, but
Yeah.
since you probably don't have the time right now to go sift through all 51 episodes and figure out which ones are
What are
about
you doing?
values. I know, what the heck. I think that we've narrowed it down for you. We've taken kind of the best of the best
Mhm.
advice that we've gotten around values. So you can get a values sheet. Literally
Yes.
just go and type into
Google
the
it.
internet values exercise. Our favorite
Mhm.
one is Brene Brown. I really feel
Yep.
like we should make our own though, because even Brene's was missing some. I think we might even
I
go.
think like our combo of Bernays and then Shannon Ashby, who when she was on our show, the show is it changed to Shannon Ashby?
Well, look at Shannon Rafalowski, or you can look at Shannon
Yeah.
Ashby.
She had a good one, but you can kind of combine or try a couple. It's sort of fun. Like Suzanne and I sat at a table and just circled everything that spoke to us when we were doing it for the
Yes.
show, specifically not for ourselves. And then we went through and it was so fun to see like which things were the same. And then we could discuss the ones like if she had one, I didn't, we would discuss why. But that doesn't take a super long time. Then the whittling it down and getting it into, 4 or 5 major buckets for your life, that takes a little bit longer. But the
Yeah.
sheets themselves, like go ahead, you could do that this week when you just need a break from your family, like go hide in the closet with your value sheet.
Yeah. And
Value quiet time.
I really loved. Okay, so yeah, you step one, you go Google values exercise.
Yeah.
You print out the sheet, and you really do, like just Missy said, you get a highlighter and highlight the ones that make the most sense to you. And or that I don't know, that you just kind of listen to your body and
Yep.
for like which one when you read it, you're like, mm-hmm, that's it.
It's so
And
weird too. And don't deny your, like there were times that I would be circling something and the voices in my head would be like, "Ooh, do you want that to be one of your values?" But like the words spoke to me. So don't, on that
yes.
first pass, just go and circle. Like for people watching, I'm frantically waving my arm in a circling motion. Just go circle and don't let your internal editor and your inner critic, don't let your gritty get
Yes,
you.
gritty. And so after you have those all highlighted, one of the things that Shannon had recommended that I found was really handy, I've got my little book here where I did mine, do, 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 is you can put them into categories.
Mm-hmm.
So where are mine? Where's my list? So for example, I had highlighted the words authenticity, honesty, trust, and truth. And so you can see how those make a natural category
Mm-hmm.
to each other. And you can kind of start to put in like another series of words that I grouped together that I had highlighted were belonging, community, connection, and inclusion. So you can see how all of those kind of naturally
There's your
tie in. And
categories.
then from each of those lists, you can pick out the one that's kind of like the representative, who's the coach or the the
Right.
team captain of that
Right.
particular list. So for those, I picked out authenticity and connection. And I mean, you can see, I don't want to show you all my to-do list, but um, dude, there's for anybody who's watching the YouTube video, I've got a lot
Yeah.
of words selected here.
Yeah.
But then we had also Coach Amy Wolfgang come on, and I thought
Oh,
she
she
had
had
a
great
really interesting
advice.
twist of taking it to the next level. Oh, actually, let me go back to Shannon. Shannon's other thing was once you pick out your team captain words, then put a verb in front of them, right?
Yeah.
So to
Yeah.
make it an action thing, I probably should have thought about what my example would be here. But
I don't have mine.
so with authenticity, it could be like
Seek
parent with
authenticity or
authenticity,
yeah.
or any type of live with authenticity, or lead my organizations with authenticity. Just
Mhm.
something to give it a little more life than just this word, that you
Right.
pin up somewhere. And then Amy Wolfgang, I loved her idea. Do you remember about taking a look back across your life, like the story of your life? in the
Yeah.
main chapters of your life and things that have happened and whether they felt good or didn't feel good, and
Right.
which ones of those values were either being supported or being stepped on.
Mm-hmm.
And that can help highlight, oh, maybe that job wasn't so bad. It was just that this boss was stepping on my community value
Right.
or whatever.
Right.
So that can
Right.
also help you to start to see trends across your entire life and just really solidify where were the ones that were like, yay, that's awesome that that got supported and I love that job. Even if it wasn't a job where I was getting paid a lot, maybe it was a volunteer role, maybe it was just something you were doing at
Mm-hmm.
your kid's school, but something that felt really good. Highlight that as like a, yep, that is, a check next to
Mm-hmm.
that value that's yes, that makes sense.
It's
That I
super vulnerable too. Again, it doesn't work if you're letting your inner critic in and the outside influences. You have to just get real and say, this stepped on a value, or this moment in my life felt bad. Maybe you've never admitted it even to yourself before, but
Mhm.
this felt bad or felt wrong, and why. It's not easy to do if you are not ready to just be honest. But once you do it, you can see the patterns. It's so clear. It starts to
Yes.
really come together. You're like, well, that, like you said, like it may have been a great job. So maybe you could do that kind of job again, but it needs to be a different environment.
Yep. Yep. And so, I mean, it helps you make a lot of well, it brings a lot of clarity into your past, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if there probably there's probably jobs that I was like, oh my God, I hated that job or whatever. And like, no, I just did not get along with that one client who, squashed my sense of
Yeah.
security or whatever it was.
Right.
But there were all these other values that it did bring. So just kind of
Mm-hmm.
taking a different lens, looking back at it. But as we're talking about looking at the next year, if you're setting these goals, if you're setting these resolutions, whatever you want to call it really does help put a little bit of scaffolding around
Yeah.
that and thinking about your values and how you want to look at the goals that you set. Because are you setting
Mm-hmm.
goals because they support your values and the things that you like, or are you doing it because you feel like you should,
You should.
or that
Right.
that's something your parents would have liked for you to do,
Mm-hmm.
or a spouse
It
would like
looks
you
good
to
on your
do?
resume, or
Yes,
sounds great at a cocktail party. Based on the current
exactly.
environment, no one's going to a cocktail party for a little while.
You
So
never know. But one
don't
of the
worry
things,
about your cocktail conversation.
yes, and one of the sections that I also highlighted my words, I had curiosity, fun, humor, and joy, and I had grouped those all together, and I chose the team captain of fun for that one, and it made me
Mhm.
think of Kristen Van Ogtrop when she was in, uh, what was it? It was like some team building or some leadership session that she went to, and everybody did their values exercise, and everybody
Oh,
else was
yeah.
like, saving the world, like all these
And
other
hers
things,
was fun
and
and
hers was
humor.
fun. And
Yeah.
she felt so like, oh my God, what does that say about me that, everybody else has these life-changing things? But that fun can be a very
It's
powerful thing
important.
to guide in the world.
Yes.
We need fun.
Yes.
So it was interesting to see that that one was one that I highlighted. And I think that can help guide you as you are putting together these goals for the year ahead and be like, okay, are they fun? Are they kind? Yeah, I'm just looking at the things that I have highlighted. I have my main goals that I ended up with were authenticity, connection, kindness, security, fun. And then I had a whole group of ones around family, love, nature, travel, learning. So I got to prioritize. Um,
Yeah.
but those really help me decide like, okay, so if I want to go to this conference, or if I want to go to this, take this class, or if I want to do whatever,
Hmm.
does it align with those, or is it just something that I feel like I should be doing?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think values are really, really helpful with that.
Yeah. And I think we've talked about it a little bit in terms of allowing yourself to just get real, but kind of that next step in this whole book that we've been working through,
Yes.
is once you know all this, you need to learn to love who you are. So you know these things about yourself, but it's no good if you're beating yourself up. So kind of that next step we'll talk about in today's mini episode is the self-love. Do you have a favorite in this book?
Oh, I love so much of it. First of all, we're holding up for the people who can't see it. We're showing our books for
I
YouTube.
often forget this is a audio
I
format.
know, the darn podcast. Why can't you see what we're doing? So it is this self-love workbook for women. We had Megan Logan on a few episodes ago, and as promised, we are diving into the book a little deeper here for the end of the year because we think it's so important to make sure that you are loving yourself and feeling like you need to resolution yourself into a point that you can be lovable. You are already. Dang it.
Right.
So this workbook, again, we do not get any money for this. Megan does not get any money for this.
This is just a fantastic tool to kind of get you ready. I don't even know if we talked a lot about reflecting, but one of the things we're really trying to do ourselves, and we hope you're doing too, is use these next couple of weeks where you hopefully have some downtime. I really hope for you that you do. It's hard to find, I know, but to prepare yourself where you're going into 2022, not like, oh crap, I have to get all these things done. I need to resolve to do all this that I haven't done before. Instead, like, know yourself and know where you fit in this world and what it is you're trying to accomplish before you even start the year. You sort of have yourself in a good headspace.
Yes.
So that's why we wanted to focus on this. I don't know if we said that explicitly. Like, we've said it a million times probably, but I don't think we started the episode with it. We're a little scattered.
That's okay, because we have enough self-love to know that that's okay.
That's right. I'm going to love myself through the next few days of utter chaos.
This is our authenticity, is that we are authentically scattered. But so in the book, Missy's going to go through some of the mantras for self-compassion. But first, I feel like we need to take our little quiz. Well, not our little quiz, Megan's little quiz.
Yes.
And for the sake of not getting any kind of trouble for, like, I'm not going to read you every single line. You need to go get the book. And again, Megan, because of the way her publishing deal was structured, she does not get money for this. We do not get money for this. The lovely people at Rockridge Press, it appears to be, probably do, and good for them because it's a helpful thing. And
yay, Rockridge!
And because of them, we now know Megan and have these helpful tools. So, so the self-compassion quiz. This is at page 58 for people who have the self-love workbook for women. Which seriously, it's like $9.98 on Amazon. Not that I want to send people to Amazon. You can. I don't know if you can find it at other booksellers. You should go ask for it at other booksellers.
It's a good idea, and ask for it at the library. You don't have to write in it. You can take your notes, on paper.
Oh, the mailman just came. So if you hear a bunch of howling in the background, that's just my dogs. So ignore them. But some of the questions on the self-compassion quiz, page 58. I allow myself to make mistakes and see them as learning opportunities. Yes or no, or true or false it has. I allow myself to experience all my emotions. Oh my gosh, Missy, that makes me think of you. Feel all your feelings.
Feel all your feelings.
Feel all your feelings. When I'm lonely, I will beat myself up and tell myself that no one likes me. Oof. If anyone is saying true to that, I just want to come and give you a hug right now and just know that that is not true. Not true, but I know that, especially around the holidays, I've been seeing a lot of memes and stuff. Like, not everybody has family to be sharing this with. This is not a happy time for everybody. So this is especially important for anybody who's feeling like they are being left out of this holiday. Even the things that we're complaining about, like getting the things ready, getting the meals ready. I mean, if that's not even a possibility for you and you feel like either maybe you've lost someone over the past year, going through divorce, just having a hard time.
Can't get together because of the pandemic. Maybe
just
half your family's COVID positive right now.
So there's probably a lot of people feeling lonely and maybe having some of these thoughts. So I think some of the affirmations that Missy's going to go through, and then also again, I know it is a luxury. Even $10 is a luxury for a lot of people. But I think that you will see a lot of value out of it. So highly recommend. Let's see. If I fail, I believe I'm not good enough. Struggling and suffering are part of the human experience. Ooh, see, I would have been like, well,
that
yeah.
one's kind of tough.
I know that is tough because I kind of feel like, ooh, okay, Megan, we need to talk through that one. I punish myself for making mistakes. I must be perfect to be loved or good enough. Oof.
Mm,
And I am as kind to myself as I am to other people.
never.
And then there's all kinds of scoring over here, depending on how many you answered true or
Right.
false for. Ranging from you are a self-compassion queen
To
to
let's try some self-compassion right
yes,
now.
let's try it right now.
Yeah.
And then the kind of the last thing is remember the three components to self-compassion involve being kind to yourself, recognizing the humanity in struggles, and practicing mindfulness. So
Yeah.
I think those are good reminders. And so Missy's favorite page,
Yeah,
what are
my
some of the
favorite
mantras around
page,
this?
yeah, is page 55 if you have the book. Mantras for self-compassion. And I would have probably laughed you out of the room a few years ago if you told me to come up with a mantra. It just sounded a little woo-woo to
I
me.
know.
I'm all about the mantra now because
I
I
know.
realized I don't know if this is everybody, but I have a constant internal dialogue. I have heard that there are people who don't have this noise in their head. Fascinating. And I'm a little jealous of you, but I have a constant internal dialogue. It's always going. I'm narrating things. I'm talking to myself about myself. What is that movie where he's like, I'm talking to myself about myself. I'm looking at myself. I don't know what it is. But
I don't
anyway,
know
edit
that.
that
For
out.
some reason, that
Um,
just sounded like Hamilton. Were you rapping,
me and
Missy?
David, we're like,
I don't even know.
but I do have this constant thing going, and I realized it was pretty negative. It's sort of my go-to, my nature. And so it would be like, I didn't get that done today. You're never going to get that done. You're never going to check all your books off your to be read list. You're never going to check all your chores off. You're never going to finish your projects. You're blah, 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 blah. It was really negative.
Yeah.
So now I'm all about the mantra because it doesn't take long to practice saying positive things. So I loved this page. I think our children start to learn it, and the social emotional learning we've talked about, they start to teach this earlier in school. I wish I had been taught
I
this in
know.
school.
Thank goodness.
So some of my favorites are that I'm worthy even when I struggle, because I have always assumed I'm only worthy when I get it right.
Mm.
So I'm still worthy even when I'm working through this. My other favorite is my thoughts are just thoughts. They're just in here. They're just thoughts.
Yeah.
They aren't real.
Mm-hmm.
They might be about something real, but they aren't real. And then what is important to me might differ from what is important to someone else, and that's okay. There's a whole bunch of others here, but these are three that I just love because I am a kind of a chameleon. And I think Suzanne may relate to this too. And we've talked about being Enneagram nines. We're
Yeah.
both people pleasers. And there's something about that personality type where you just sort of soak in and take in whatever is going on around you. So I will hear somebody talk about what really matters for an event, for how they want the day to go, how they think a job should be done, whatever it is. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
now important to me. And then it doesn't align with my values.
Yeah.
And then everything goes to hell in a handbasket. And so I have to repeat that to me. Like, it's okay. It's okay if what really matters to me is what different from what really matters to you.
Yeah. And gosh, along that same side. So, I mean, it's very much like us to kind of take that and internalize that
Mm-hmm.
are we liking the wrong thing because of that? But I think there's other people who maybe are, I don't want to say overconfident in their values, but who want to
But
take
yeah.
their values and put them on other people. And so
Yes.
it's the same it's the same idea, but reversed a little bit. Like, it's okay
Yeah.
if my values aren't the same as your values. And, because I feel like maybe your values might be better than mine. But some people who think that maybe their values should be applied to other people's lives. And that can cause, I mean, that's a lot of the mommy wars. That is a lot of
Oh,
battles
totally.
that people have as far as thinking that, well, clearly you should think the way I do because this is super important to me. And like, oh, well, maybe not important to
I'm
that
raising
person.
a person who is super confident in his values,
Uh-huh.
in his ideas. And I mean, we have said since he was teeny tiny, since he could communicate, we've been like, well, he's strong. He knows what he wants. He also knows what you should want. But it's,
Yes.
it's something I'm trying to impart to him gently is just what works for you doesn't work for everybody else.
Yeah.
Or the decisions they make are not going to be the decisions that you make. And that is okay. If we all made the same decision, it'd be a whole cluster because we'd all be doing exactly the same thing. And there's just, that's not how it goes.
And that's the extra important part of knowing your values and also having that self-love, because there are going to be people like that, not like your son, but
No,
who in a hardcore way.
Yes.
Yeah, we're all going to have bosses like that. We're all going to have coworkers like that who
Mm-hmm.
maybe are a little stronger or outspoken about their values, and we need to be able to not, I guess, stick up for ourselves, but also just self-love ourselves to know that nope,
Right.
I know what my values are. I know that that isn't mine. They can say whatever they want to say, but I know what's true to me. And
Exactly. And a lot of that is inside work. Like
yes.
it doesn't always serve the situation to stand up and make a stink about it and be like, well, that does not serve my values, or, or I don't have to agree with you because my values are this. It might. I mean, I'm not saying don't ever do that. Sometimes you need to stand up in the middle of the room and say enough. Yeah. But a lot of that is just internally being able to love yourself through it. And at the end of the day, go, I did this and I did this for a reason. Mm-hmm. And I know what that reason is, and it's all going to be okay.
Yeah. And you know what? A lot of that's going to come up around probably the holiday dinner tables, or if you are getting together with family or neighbors or whoever who maybe know how to press those buttons. Having these self-love mantras, this exercise, this self-awareness of knowing your values is just a nice, strong place to come to when you can't go hide in the closet or go hide in the bathroom. You can just take a deep breath and be like, I know who I am. I know what I value. And your yapping is not going to make an impact on that to me. So I do think that this is an incredible time of year, not just to set those intentions for the year ahead, but also it's a little bit of padding and security and safety emotionally as you venture into these peopling areas with people who have not peopled for a long time, and even back when they knew how to people, maybe didn't do it great. So
I was getting ready to say, like, there's some people in everyone's lives who have never known how to do this. I mean, including myself at times. Like, social interactions are hard sometimes.
They're hard.
Even when you're practicing.
Yes. So I think those, we decided, are the first steps that are critical to do in order to really set into a new year, a new week, a new month. And this, this isn't something that you're just going to do once. Well, that was another thing that we brought up too in several of the episodes, that, if you are having a change of career, if you have a change in your family structure, you might gain someone, you might lose someone.
Your health might change drastically. Your financial situation, things change.
Yeah. And it may be for the good, maybe for the tough, but reevaluating these values and really doing these self-love exercises can help through all of that. So this is not like we're going to do it at the new year and then you set it and forget it. It's a good idea. You have your little values list and check in every once in a while and be like, you know what, now that maybe someone gets laid off from work or whatever. Okay. So what does that mean?
How does this change things?
How does that change things? Or maybe you start at a new job. How does that change things? So take a look at it. It's a living document. But now is just a really good time as people are, doing the resolutions, having this quote unquote fresh start for the new year. Now's as good a time as any to take a look at it.
So I think we're wrapping our week one there.
Yeah.
Right?
So this is wrapping week one.
Natural stop.
First thing you go Google values exercise or list of values, highlight it, pick your favorites, group them up together, pick a team captain from each of those lists, and then use that as your scaffolding as far as, really knowing who you are and the decisions you want to make. And it might even eliminate some of the people from that guest list at your holiday table, depending on how much they bump against those values. And then the self-love is to keep you safe and protected from situations, and also just feeling good going into the new year, knowing that you are worthy and valuable way before you hit any resolutions or goals. It's wonderful if you want to try to get healthier, do exercise, get outside more, but If you don't do that, you're still valuable.
You're still worthy.
And you don't have to hit a particular milestone to be worthy. You are worthy and valuable today and all those other days that you do or do not achieve those goals. So
we're not really doing a look, listen, learn this episode.
Are we doing I don't think we're doing look, listen, learn.
We're trying to keep them short.
Yeah, we're trying to make these nice and quick for you. So so let's wrap it up here. And then next week, what are we talking about next week? Next week,
we're going to talk
which
about...
is technically 5 minutes from now for us.
Yeah. But for you listening or watching, listening or watching, we're going to talk about picking a word of the year and how that helps us. And then vision boarding, which again, like mantras, may sound a little woo-woo, but it's got some useful. And then we're going to talk super briefly about what's coming up in the early part of the year just for the show.
All right. So so we will talk to you all next week. Good luck over these holidays.
If you're celebrating, we hope it's as great as it can be in a COVID year. We wish you peace and joy and a lot of self-love.
And take that time that you need to go escape to your room, escape to the closet, escape to the bathroom. Take a deep breath. You can do this. And think about those values and all the self-love exercises you can.
Yeah. All right.
See you next week. Okay, should we do our fake wave? Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for joining us for the Mom and ... podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's show. And if you know someone else who could benefit from the episode, please be sure and share it with them. And while we're begging, please subscribe and rate us wherever it is you listen to podcasts. You can find links to all the things we discussed today in our show notes or over at our website, momandpodcast.com, with the A-N-D spelled out. In between shows, find us over at the socials, including our private Mom and Community Facebook group. The links to that group and all of our socials can be found at momandpodcast.com. Thank you so much for your support. We appreciate you more than you know. Now go out there and make your ellipses count.